Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. The game at the Amex has just got underway. Brighton and Hove Albion are taking on Fulham, and what should be hopefully a fairly open game with two sides who are certainly better going forward than they are defending. Brighton always looking to try and get a good start, particularly at home against the Fulham side, who were decent last season, probably just looking to try and kick on and get a little bit further up the table, because they had a couple of inconsistent periods towards the end of the season. But long ball now over the top here as straight away Brighton trying to get on the attack, and it's with Minte getting towards the edge of the area, being marked well here by Bassi, trying to get away from him, trying to force a cross into the area, just loses his balance and can't quite get the ball into the penalty area. But Brighton, as we saw there inside the first 30 seconds, trying to show their attacking intent straight away. Myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Rosso taking the action. Dale, how do you see it? Is the home side strong favourites this afternoon?
Yeah, it's certainly heading into the game. They certainly have almost that edge that they can push through this game and do a professional job and maybe just come away with the 3 points. But Fulham aren't a side who will just lie down and take it. They're certainly going to try and push back and try and create some opportunities themselves. As you said, both sides very attacking. An opportunity here for Jimenez, and he's hit that there and it's gone out. But certainly a side and a game that's going to have plenty of opportunities. Yes,
you'd like to think, as I say, both teams are very good at going forward, and we see the first response from Fulham now. They found a lot of space here on the left. Iwobi played it into Jimenez, but I think he made his mind up far too quickly there, Raul Jimenez, that he was going to be shooting when there were actually options to try and pick out a teammate as well. But Brighton now trying to take a short goal kick, and I say trying to because there's 4 Fulham players pressing here, but the home side just about get the ball away here. It's with Veifa now down the right hand side. Just to remind you the two teams very quickly, it is Bart Verbruggen in goal for Brighton, a back four of Max Veifa, Jan-Paul van Hecke, Lewis Dunk and Maxim de Kuyper. Carlos Baliba and Yassine Ayari are the two holding midfielders, with Yakuba Minte, Matt O'Reilly and Koru Mitoma as the attacking midfield three, playing behind Jorginho Rutter. As for Fulham, it is Bernd Leno in goal, back four of Kenny Tete, Joachim Andersen, Calvin Bassi and George Cuenca. Sander Bieg and Sasa Lukic are the holding midfielders. The three ahead of them are Harry Wilson, Josh King and Alex Iwobi. Raul Jimenez is the front man, and it's back with Leno here for Fulham, who are in their sort of chat, I suppose it's fluorescent shirts, you'd say, their away kit. If anyone who's worked on a building site will see sort of that kind of safety fluorescent colour there for Fulham. But they're down the left hand side now here with Iwobi getting towards the edge of the area, just holds the ball up, tries to, one trick too many there I felt from Iwobi. He had enough time to get a right footed cross into the box, tried to take Veifa on again, doesn't quite work out. Both sides saying it should be a goal kick or a corner. In the end, Brighton don't take the chance and they clear the ball into midfield anyway. And under pressure now is Baliba. Still a little bit of interest in him, but for the time being, very much in that Brighton 11. And here comes a good ball down the left-hand side, and an opportunity here for De Kuyper, getting towards the edge of the area. Plays it to square. It's a 1-2 now. That ball is overhit. Potentially might just be kept in play. I think it's gone out for a goal kick. It has. In fact, no. Play on. Minte goes for goal, and it's into the back of the net. Now play does stop, and we'll wait and see here whether the referee has. In fact, if the referee hasn't stopped play, then we can still check with VAR. Certainly looked to both of us like it had gone out of play. Fulham stops like it had gone out for a goal kick. Play goes on, and the ball's in the net. What do we think of this one?
Well, almost everyone stopped in this instance, and the ball, on live viewing, you can see it's clearly out. Almost a ball and a half over the line. He does his best to try and keep it in. Does the Brighton man, but Minte sees the ball come to him and puts it in the back of the net as he should. Just on the off chance that it didn't roll out, but it's quite clear to see that it rolled out, and I think that's poor refereeing.
It is. I mean, as I say, they've got to the right conclusion in the end. It took them a little bit longer than perhaps it should have done. But as I say, from the point of view that we have got VAR, if they're going to make a decision like that, I actually prefer them to wait a minute rather than potentially assume that it's definitely got out of play and then we see a replay and it turns out that it hasn't. But looking at it live, it looked like it had gone out, and looking at the replay, it's clearly the ball and then some has gone out. So it is going to be 0-0 still here after 5 minutes. It's goalless in the other two Premier League games between Sunderland and West Ham, and Tottenham and Burnley. Those two games are available on our service, as indeed is the late game this evening between Wolves and Manchester City. There's a couple of Championship offerings as well. We'll let you know if any goals are going in some of the bigger games this afternoon. We've already got one goal in the Championship, an early lead for Stoke City away at troubled Sheffield Wednesday. Back here at the Amex, it is Brighton in possession with Jan-Paul van Hecke Big centre back now over towards the right hand side. Minteh trying to get away from Calvin Bassey. Does well, but he's had to go infield and he's put some studs in there. Referee says play on for the time being. There's a Fulham man down here. There may be some consequences to come for this, but here's Mitoma now down the left hand side. Gets towards the edge of the area. Leaves it in the end here for De Kuyper. De Kuyper's ball is to no one in particular. He overhits that and it just sails out for a goal kick. But now all the Fulham players are asking the question. Josh King was in huge pain. Now he's not in huge pain anymore, but is Minteh well within his rights to go for this? I mean, he's trying to tuck the studs in fairness, but it's still quite a strong collision.
Yeah, of course, he's always going into the King's feet there. He's hooked the ball away. It's a sideways motion, so it's not as if he's stood down onto the ball and hit the foot of Josh King. So you can't fault Minteh necessarily for that. I think he's got every right to go for the ball. He gets the ball cleanly, and then it's the follow through that's the issue, but I don't think you can fault him too much for it.
Well, as I say, the ball was there to be won, and as we say, he is trying to do a little bit of work to try and avoid that full collision, because I think he would have known that if it had gone in there studs up there would have been problems. But yeah, it's going to be a free kick to Fulham now inside their own half. Bit of a bundle into there from Max Vafer. So it's Alex Iwobi rolling it back here towards Calvin Bassey. Further back now towards Anderson. Cuenca now. It looks like actually, based on what we can see here, it looks like Bassey's playing as the left back and Cuenca is alongside Anderson at centre back. Yeah,
it's certainly probably going to be more of a fluid motion. Both players can play either centre back or left back, so it's certainly a pro as opposed to a con.
No, it certainly is, and from Bassey's point of view, he's a strong player, but he's also a quick player as well, so if he can get down that left-hand side, it would be useful for Fulham. Meanwhile, down the right-hand side, Tete with a decent run, and it was a ball into the box, which is always just a little bit too close to Bart Verbruggen. So Brighton's Dutch keeper can just slowly stroll out towards the edge of his penalty area. Although I'll correct myself, he can't stroll out too slowly, of course, because the rules have changed now in terms of keepers holding onto the ball. We'll see when that first gets enforced, because it's going to at some stage. Obviously all the keepers and outfield players will be very aware of it, but anytime keeper holds on to it for too long, potentially there could be a corner kick to the opposition side. Dunk now playing it square to Van Hecker. Down the right hand side here for Minteh, a bit of a heavy touch there that allows Lukic to dispossess him, and here come Fulham now here with Josh King. He does well to skip past Balabra, he does well to skip past Vafer as well, holds onto the ball and then finds support down the left hand side from Iwobi into King, bit of a heavy touch to find space in the box, but King carries on going and he manages to get past the keeper. The ball was just loose inside the 6-yard box. It's eventually cleared back into midfield. The referee just points for a throw on, but he is going to ask the two sides to wait, because VAR want to have a look at this one.
Yeah, it's certainly a dangerous one from a Brighton perspective. Ball comes along the left-hand side. Iwobi needs it through into the path of King. He does take it to his right-hand side. I think it's King who gets the touch and then collides with the goalkeeper, Verbruggen. It's a difficult one. Of course, he's got the defender on his back and the goalkeeper in front of him. He's almost sandwiched between.
I just wonder, is he falling before there's any contact anyway, or is he about to fall? It's a difficult one to see whether or not the VAR is still checking, so we're still not sure. Actually, there may still be a comeback with this one, but we'll keep an eye on the referee to see whether or not he's going to allow play to resume. For the time being, he's not, though. So looks like the fact that we have got play resumed now, so VAR have checked it, have decided there wasn't enough contact there, or if there was contact, that potentially King was already in a position where he might have been losing his balance anyway. But it's a throw on to Fulham down the left-hand side, around about the halfway line. Bassey into Iwobi, back to Calvin Bassey again under a bit of pressure, turns into Yakuba Minteh and forces the ball out for another throw on. So say no goals in the Premier League so far, no goals in the early game either, where Newcastle would have been frustrated not to have won that game. They certainly had the majority of attacking possession, and they had a man advantage for half an hour as well. Certainly looking at the first game of the season last night, Liverpool, similar really to what we were expecting from Liverpool in terms of being very attacking side, but potentially a bit open at the back as well. For some exciting football this season, as here come Fulham again. They're having a good little spell here now, with King finding Iwobi down the left-hand side, gets towards the edge of the area. It's been stood up here by Balibra, trying to get away from him, trying to force the cross. He does force the cross, but it doesn't go out for a corner. Although good play here to keep the ball alive from Harry Wilson. He's come all the way over from the right-hand side to keep this ball alive here for Fulham on the left. In the end, Bassey with no options, having to go back towards Cuenca on the halfway line. Here is Wilson again. This Fulham kit is almost blending into the turf, really, isn't it? It's quite, particularly when they're on the lighter sides of it, it's quite hard to tell them apart. But certainly, I'm not sure if their home kit would have clashed too much with Brighton. I suppose all the white potentially could have done, so they had to have their away kit on today. We've got our first goal in the Premier League this afternoon, and it was always going to be difficult for Burnley to maintain that ridiculous defensive record, ridiculously good, I should say, from last season. They have conceded early, with Richarlison scoring the goal that puts Tottenham 1-0 up against Burnley at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Back here at the Amex. A long spell of possession this for Fulham. Just as I say that, long throw is picked off in out by Yari. Goes back towards Wafer. Now dunk square towards De Kuyper. Fulham, you can see certainly their forwards and their midfielders are trying to press as high as they can. In fact, the defence is pressing high as well. They want to try and condense the pitch here, but Minte skipping away from Bassi. Then he finds a short ball in towards Matt O'Reilly. Danish international gets all the way to the byline, but that's good covering there from Bassi. Easily dispossesses him. And then a ball up towards Ayari. Ayari saying he was fouled, and the referee agrees. It will be a free kick to Fulham.
It's a very back and forth affair we're seeing right now, and it's both near sides. The left wing of Fulham certainly looking like something they can exploit, but also the right side for Brighton. Cuba Minte, he's finding grace in that right hand side and getting in behind. So it's certainly a battle of the wingers in this tie, but Fulham back on the ball and looking comfortable.
They are, yeah, I'm safe. After the first few minutes of Brighton getting forward, Fulham have responded with a bit of decent possession themselves. Although, in that said, Brighton, of course, have had the ball in the net, but that was from a clear attack where the ball had gone out for a goal kick long before it reached the goal scorer, as it would have been Yakuba Minte. Now a throw on to Fulham down the right-hand side here with Kenny Tete. Options here left and right, but also plenty of Brighton players swarming. So tries to get that ball in towards Raul Jimenez. Unusual ball back from Jimenez. It actually goes straight through towards Jorginho Ruta, but enough Fulham players are back to cover, and they win the ball back in now with Tete up towards Jimenez. One touch here, and Lukic then finding a pass down the right-hand side for Wilson, and he just about keeps it in play. The linesman was right next to him. Wilson now breaking into the box, tries to tee it up for the on-rushing Raul Jimenez. The pass is stopped by De Kuyper. That's good covering there from the Belgian left-back. Second opportunity here now for Fulham. It's with Tete. Lukic now squared towards Bassi. Bit of an awkward control there from the Nigerian international, but he finds space for Iwobi now down the left-hand side. There's an overlap here from Bassi if Iwobi wants to use it. For the time being, he's just quite happy to hold on to it himself. And back now towards Cuenca. All the way back to the halfway line, in fact. But there's an ease with the way Fulham are moving the ball now. And that's something that Brighton want to try and stop, because that was a decent run down the right-hand side from Wilson. Just couldn't quite find the right ball into the box.
Yeah, it was a good ball. He had plenty of space to run into. And, of course, Wilson's the type of player who has the pace to beat his man. And De Kuyper just couldn't keep up with him. Unfortunately, on this occasion, he couldn't get the ball into the box. But certainly worrying signs from Brighton that they're unable to stop Fulham's wingers from attacking them.
Well, absolutely. That is going to be the problem, I think, if Brighton can't quite do something to stop the runs of Iwobi and of Wilson, with the overlaps that they're going to get from Bassi and from Tete as well. That is certainly going to be an angle that Fulham are going to try and exploit wherever they can. But for the time being, it is Brighton trying to get back on the attack here with Mitoma down the left-hand side. He gets to the edge of the area. He's got three players to work with in the box. Just plays it back towards Ayari. Ayari now squared to Van Hecke, who joins this particular attack, and it's his ball into the box, which is initially only partially controlled there by Lukic, and it drops to Baliba, who decides to go for a shot from outside the box, and quite rightly he puts his hand up to apologise, because that one goes many yards over the bar. The fans in the higher sections of that Fulham travelling support would have needed to duck out the way for that one. Out for a goal kick. But Brighton, even though the shot itself wasn't particularly good, Brighton needed that little bit of attacking possession there just to try and level things off, because the last few minutes have been getting better and better for Fulham. Yeah,
Fulham certainly have all the momentum going forward into the final 30 minutes of this first half, and I'm sure they'll only hope to build on that, whereas Brighton still struggling to find their feet. Of course, their best opportunity probably still the ruled out goal. Still unsure whether or not the referee blew his whistle beforehand, but certainly not a legal goal, and that's still probably their best opportunity going forward. They've just struggled to really find any clear breaks or any space to play into.
Yeah, it's been a problem here, I think, for Brighton. Fulham certainly seem to have their number early on. So they'll be looking for another option here as the ball is played up. That's a heavy touch though from Ruter. He's hardly had any touches of the ball so far. He needs to do better when he gets in that position. It's played back towards Brighton, who holds on to it just a little bit too long, but he does clear it up towards the halfway line now. Iwobi nods it down, but the loose ball will be picked off here by Ayari. And he goes back towards De Kuiper. Too much pressing here from Fulham as Brighton just quite happy to keep it here inside of their own half. It's O'Reilly now. It's back towards Dunk. On the left here with De Kuiper. Lifting that one towards the right hand, towards the right wing here, just at the edge of the area. It's a bouncing ball which couldn't be controlled by Minte first time. That allowed Bassi to dispossess him, and then Iwobi up towards the halfway line, where it's good work here from Baliba to win the ball back, although he's dispossessed almost immediately. And now King finding Bjerg up towards Jimenez, and now down the right hand side here for Tete, over the halfway line in towards Lukic, who is going to get body checked there by De Kuiper. And as I say, I think De Kuiper's trying to say, well, I couldn't do anything, he just ran straight into me. But that's one of those little grey areas where the attacking player is always going to get the advantage. I wouldn't agree that De Kuiper did nothing. He did actually move across to stop Lukic anyway.
Yeah, he certainly did. He came across his man, tried to almost block him from running towards the ball, and then, of course, they like to get in front of the man and then stand still and act as if they've not blocked the run, similar to a screen in basketball, of course, but that's the wrong sport, and a foul in this one.
Yes, a free kick now to Brighton. It's a long way out from goal, but certainly potentially long enough here to think about a ball into the box. It's a couple of Fulham players are standing over. It looks like it's Wilson with the left foot is one option. See whether or not he wants to try and send this ball towards the edge of the area. It's a short pass here, then Wilson goes on the run, heading towards the penalty area now. Mitoma is out to try and charge him down. He plays it square to Iwobi. Over towards the left-hand side now for Bassi. Bassi's pass is under hit, and that's a strong challenge as well from Joachim Andersen. The Brighton players will be wanting a yellow card for Andersen. So I had to double take this. He's had a haircut in the summer. It's slightly shorter hair to what I'm used to seeing on Joachim Andersen, but different haircut, same sort of style of play from him though. He likes to get physical, doesn't he?
He certainly does. He's not afraid to get into a challenge. He's always first man there. Well, even if he's not first man there, he's certainly the first man to make contact and get involved and just almost try and dominate the game from that perspective for his side. And he's left a mark on the man there.
He certainly has, and Andersen is one of those that will always have a little bit to say to the referee, have a little bit to say to the opposition players and indeed opposition fans. He's not afraid, but a bit of a mess here for Brighton playing out from the back. Van Hecker, I'm not sure he was compelled to just rush with that ball the way he did, but he's played it out for a throw, which has been taken quickly here. Iwobi finding King. King then gets dispossessed by Wefer, and then a combination of Wefer and Baliba get the ball away now for Brighton up to the halfway line, but that's been tracked by George Cuenca, who bounces a ball all the way back towards Bernd Leno, who's being closed down by Ruter, but he's got enough time to get a long clearance up over the halfway line towards Jimenez, I should say, but good header away there from Van Hecker. Brighton now have the ball back. 18.5 minutes gone, unofficial and defended off Tube studio commentary. It is Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Fulham 0. It's also goalless between Sunderland and West Ham, and in the other game in the Premier League being played right now, it is Tottenham 1, Burnley 0, with Richarlison getting the goal for Spurs. It's with Van Hecker now. Over towards the right-hand side, Minte laying it into Ruter. A bit of a heavy touch, but that actually helps him get away from Andersen, but it doesn't help with the fact that he did that from an offside position. No,
and it's good build-up play in sense of the idea of what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring Rutter in. He's trying to drop deep and get onto the ball, but on this occasion he's offside, and Brighton's still struggling to find any real rhythm, whereas Fulham, it seems like they've got a clear idea of how they want to play. They're trying to go to the wings, try and get the ball into the box from there and create some opportunities, but Brighton, they've gone to the wings, then they're trying to play it inside. Nothing's quite working for them as of yet.
No, it's not. I would agree that for the time being, Fulham have got more of a marker down in the way they want to play this game than what the home side do, and that in itself will be a worry to Fabian Herzl. Although Brighton are an adaptable side, they can play as a team in possession or out of possession as well, so they won't worry too much about that as long as it's not a long-standing thing in this game. Lukic there just a little bit too keen to win that ball back for Fulham in midfield, just at the edge of the centre circle. A free kick to Brighton to be taken now by Ayari. Back to Van Hecker. Again, the way he looks up, he wants to play a diagonal ball, but Fulham have done their homework. They're playing with a high offside line, so they're making it difficult for any long balls to pick out routes there. It's now in the middle with Baliba. Back towards Van Hecker. Lewis Dunk over to De Kuyper. Goes down by Harry Wilson, so it's back with Dunk again. A square now to Van Hecker. So again, no options here for Brighton right now. Fulham have started very well in this game. Not just in terms of their attacking intent, but the way they've positioned themselves. Or just as I say that, though, Iwobi's left far too much space here for Minte, but Minte's wasted that. It's almost like he was too keen to get rid of the ball because there's been so little attacking possession. If he'd have just taken a moment to look around, he could have realised that there was a better ball on for Rutte, and he could have actually gone on a run himself.
Yeah, well, he's tried to play the ball on the outside of his left foot, trying to almost curve it in behind and allow Rutte to run onto it. But the technique's all wrong, the power's all wrong, and in the end he's just kicked it out for a goal kick. And maybe just a little bit of rust in how he's been playing, but like you said, not much time on the ball in these first 20 minutes. And if he'd just taken a moment to look around and just assess the situation, I think he would have made a better decision.
Yeah, that's one of those where Brighton need to make better decisions in those sort of positions. There's been very little attacking possession to speak of. Although that said, it's been a little while since we've seen anything more concrete from Fulham going forward, so things have just started to get a little bit more bogged down in central midfield as Bassey's being closed down by two Brighton players, Rutte and O'Reilly, but it's Rutte that gets the telling touch and wins it back, and then O'Reilly with a ball into the box. Again, it's one of those where he's rushed that cross a little bit. Might have had a better option there of actually going for goal himself, but this is now a counter-attack for Fulham down the right-hand side, and it's a decent run this as well from Lukic. Plays it square to Wilson, who's gone into the middle. They almost swapped roles for that particular move there. It's Wilson now out towards Iwobi on the left-hand side. He skips away from Wafer and then plays the ball into the box, which was intended at Wilson. He wanted to use the pace of that pass to then turn into the penalty area with it, but was dispossessed. So now it is Fulham back in possession here on the halfway line with Anderson playing it back towards goalkeeper Bernd Leno. Over the halfway line, headed down here by Van Hecker for Baliba playing it back towards his own keeper. So Brighton now quite consciously just trying to slow things down a little bit. The idea is, of course, just to keep Fulham away from the ball. But it's also, I mean, we've seen a couple of moves in the last couple of minutes here from Brighton. There was the wasted pass from Minte, the overhit cross from O'Reilly, but that's actually a slight bit of progress because before that Brighton were even struggling to get something like that going.
No, of course, Brighton trying to get onto the ball a little bit more and involve this man now who's on the ball, Mitoma. We've not seen too much of him. And Brighton, a team, when they have the ball, can create things. The ball into the box, it's bouncing around the penalty area, but eventually collected by Bernd Leno.
Yeah, the cross never reached its intended target first time, but yeah, Fulham just made a little bit of a mess of dealing with that bouncing ball. Leno quickly put that ball down as well, but he realised he was already getting close to the 8-second warning there, but the ball is now up towards the halfway line, and a bit of poor possession there between Minte and Baliba, and suddenly it's gifted possession for Fulham with King going down the left-hand side here for Iwobi and Bassey. The two of them now linking up very well here on the left-hand side. It's back with Calvin Bassey. He's really been given licence to get further forward. He finds Josh King at the edge of the area. It's back over on the left-hand side here now with Iwobi. Rolls that ball into King. The flag stays down. He's got a tight angle. He tries to go for goal. Has it got a deflection? It has got a deflection. It will be out for a corner. It's a good time to hand over as well. We're at 23.5 minutes at the Amex. It's goalless between Brighton and Hove Albion and Fulham, and it will be Dale to take us through to half-time.
King, 18 years old, so young, but also so experienced almost in the way that he's playing. He's more than willing to make those runs and use his movement off the ball to create issues. He's won his side a corner. He tried to put it into the box, but it was deflected behind off of Van Heck. And this corner will be a left-footed cross from Harry Wilson. It'll be an out-swinging corner. Plenty of aerial threat from a Fulham perspective. As Brighton gear up to defend, the ball comes into the box, into the centre of the penalty area, and it's actually a Fulham man who clears it away for Brighton. All the way back into Alex Iwobi. A long ball out to the left-hand side, looking for Harry Wilson. He's just a step behind it. And Harry Wilson, certainly one of the fastest players on the pitch. If he's a step behind it, it's slightly overhit. And you can see the idea from Iwobi trying to find him in behind on the left-hand side because he took the corner. But it's just overhit for the Welshman to get up to it.
Yeah, it is a little bit overhit, but it's more little green shoots of progress here for Fulham, though. We just see Brighton chairman, Brighton owner there, Tony Bloom, actually let a bit of a big yawn there as well, because there's not been too much happening in terms of his side, but as I say, obviously over the last however many years that Bloom has been at the Amex, it's been nothing but progress here from Brighton, both financially and on the pitch, and then with all the infrastructure. But breaking off from that, here come Brighton now with Ruter, who goes for goal. It's a decent effort on target, but one that Leno should save.
Yeah, it's definitely an easy save for Leno. It's a bit of a pallid shot from Jorginho Ruter. He does well, shifts it onto his right-hand side, and he gets it low, deep into the corner almost, but Leno, too easy for him to get down. The ball just didn't have enough pace. Of course, when it's rolling on the floor, it's only losing momentum. Belieber feels like he's been cheated almost there. Thought he'd won the ball cleanly, but the referee has brought it back for a free kick. And Calvin Bassey will take relative ease. Back towards Leno, then up to the right-hand side for Anderson. He's got Tete making a run on his right. So he's got an easy option there. Decides not to do that and play a long ball over the top, looking for Jimenez, but well read by Verbruggen to come out and catch the ball in the air, because if that ball falls to Jimenez in the penalty area, he's a serial striker. He's going to release a deadly shot and really test Verbruggen, so nipping that in the bud was his best option. As Van Heck collects the ball in towards Belieber. He shifts it out to the left-hand side. That's a lovely ball over the top, looking for Matoma. He collects it, chests it down and runs at Kenny Tete. The Japanese just ushered out on the left-hand side. Kenny Tete did well defensively there to not do too much, not give him too much contact, but also do enough in the sense that he forced him so far wide that the Japanese international ran out of pitch. Kenny Tete wiped the ball down with his shirt. Of course, they stopped players rubbing it down with towels last season. So he's doing what he can with what he's wearing. As the throw-in comes in, easily collected by the Fulham defence, but then picked up once more by Belieber, and he's more than happy to enforce that midfield area, win the ball back when he can and distribute it nicely. Plays it in towards Ayari. It's a lovely turn from the Swedish midfielder. Playing back to Van Heck. And Brighton starting to build a little bit more momentum in this game.
They are, yes, just the last few minutes is getting a little bit more difficult here for Fulham to get the kind of midfield possession that they would like. We've had that speculative effort from Ruter in the last few minutes, but other than that, it's just possession for Brighton. They're still struggling to really make inroads towards the penalty area time and again.
Van Heck back on the ball, out to the right-hand side, trying to find Yankuba Minter in behind, and he's found him well. Now onto the right, played into the centre of the box. Laid off once more, and a ball in towards the back post. Mitoma with a header, and it's slightly over the bar, but it's not a bad header from the Japanese international on the back post. Mitoma, he's going to think he could have done better, but I think he's done well in the position that he's in. And of course, he's not a man who finds himself with many headers.
No, he's the one who likes to put crosses in for other players to head it. I mean, he gets into a good position. He's an attacking player, though, so I'm not going to let him off entirely that he's a winger who doesn't take many headers. I still think that maybe he should be trying to get that one on target, but at the same time, it's a quick ball across. Does well to even get into the position that he does, and now we can see Fabian Hürzeler looking a little bit happier, as I say, because his side are just starting to feel their way back into the game, and actually it's 3-1 in favour of Brighton, and it's 1-0 in terms of shots on target in favour of the home side as well.
Belieber has been brought down just over the halfway line. Sasha Lukic a little bit too aggressive in his approach. It's easily taken a quick pass into Van Heck, and then out to the left-hand side. Ayari finds Mitoma. Good build-up play here from Brighton. They are forced back, however. Fulham more than happy to let Brighton play as long as it's in front of them. As Van Heck picks the ball up on the halfway line. Up on the right-hand side, well intercepted by Alex Iwobi. He looks set to break. Has he got the pace to get around Weifer? He does not, and Weifer does well to win the ball back, as well as keep it from going out over the touchline. Played into Ayari, and then once more to Belieber. Belieber tries to dribble through the midfield. Not able to do that, and Josh King comes away with the ball, and he's brought down by Mitoma. It's a late challenge from Mitoma. I'm not sure why he went in so aggressively, but a free kick's being given.
It's not really in Mitoma's nature to do that often. I'm a little bit surprised that he's done it the way that he has. I mean, Wilson is there, Mitoma. I mean, to give him his credit, he has actually nicked the ball there with his studs, but he's taken a bit too much of the man as well.
It's an unfortunate situation for Mitoma, but Harry Wilson going to ground. He's a man who does well to get his body between the ball and his man. But it's a free kick in a dangerous area here for Fulham if they can get the delivery right. And Verbruggen's just making sure that his defence is set up properly to deal with this. And 2 Fulham players stood over the ball. They've got Alex Iwobi, similar to how they do on a corner. Alex Iwobi is probably the deepest man on the pitch, and I think that's quite surprising. He's certainly got a good tackle in him, but he's not known for his defensive prowess, so certainly confident that they can deliver this ball well. It looks like it will be Wilson to put the ball into the box. It's on the far post. The header's won by Sander Berge, but Brighton come away with the ball. The second ball, and it's Yankuba Minteh looks set to drive along this right hand side. Calvin Bassey's come across him, helped out in winning the ball, but maybe took a little bit too many nibbles at the share, and it was actually a tug on the share, and for his troubles he will be given the first yellow card of the game.
Yeah, he's quite upset about this one, is Calvin Bassey. Well, as Minteh's going forward, I mean, Bassey holds onto the shirt once, twice. I mean, no, there's no attempt to play the ball. I understand Bassey just in terms of the limited amount of contact, but it's the fact that he's stopping a very quick, tricky player when he's in full flow. So that kind of limited contact is going to be enough, and I think the referee's well within his rights there.
Yeah, certainly a yellow card. Multiple tugs of the shirt from Calvin Bassey. The free kick will be taken by Van Heck. Shifted up to the left-hand side. It's a lovely touch from Mitoma to bring it down in towards Ayari, and playing backwards again are Brighton into the captain Lewis Dunk, trying to draw out the Fulham press, I'm sure, but Fulham are almost content to sit in front of the ball and win it back that way, force Brighton to make the first move, and this pass and play's gone all the way back to the goalkeeper as Verbruggen's getting involved, stitching together a couple of passes. Yankuba Minteh now on the right hand side. Between himself and Van Heck, they've got themselves into a lovely position. Calvin Bassey forced to make the challenge. It's a dangerous challenge as well because he's on the yellow card. He's gone to ground. He's won the ball. He's done well, but he's going to have to start thinking about that as we get further and further into this game. Yankuba Minteh, he's fast, but Bassey certainly got the ball, claiming there was a double touch.
And he may have actually convinced the referee, has he? I don't think he has. Has it been given as a corner? We're just going to have to wait and see what the officials have decided here. You see Marco Silva there. It has been given as a goal kick, so fair play to Bassey, and then he's straight into... I must say, I'm impressed with this sort of Bassey at left-back idea. I've seen him play at left-back before, but it wasn't quite with the same licence to get forward. He's almost like a left wing-back alongside Iwobi, and the two of them are sort of exchanging positions, and it seems to be working for Fulham as well.
It certainly is a fluid dynamic between the two Nigerians. A long ball over the top, looking for Raul Jimenez, but he's in an offside position, and questions as to whether or not he's kicked the ball away, maybe. He did kick the ball away, of course, but whether or not it was so far after the referee's whistle, deemed not to be, so no penalty for him as Brighton take the free kick quickly. Lewis Dunk in towards Van Heck, but left for Vijver, and then back to Verbruggen. And Brighton, certainly in the last 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes was almost all Fulham, but in the last 15 minutes it's certainly been Brighton's turn to have the ball and almost not control the game, but choose what they want to do with it and how they approach it. As Fulham more than happy to just sit deep. They've got no reason to push up, of course. They're still tied 0-0. They're getting plenty of opportunities over the top and in behind, so don't change what's not broken. But Brighton certainly a side that will grow in confidence the longer that they have the ball.
They will, and as I say, the Brighton are a side who can adapt to whatever the situation is. We've certainly seen that last season, and overall I have to say, just as a quick point about Brighton in general, when you think of the managerial changes they've had over the past 7 or 8 years, And with every manager, there seems to be an evolution, an improvement, a change in the way they play. I mean, to look at a team who've been in the Premier League a couple of years less than Brighton, a team like Brentford, they've done very well, but they've had the same manager the entire time. Now it's a huge test for them when they change their manager and promote one of their coaches to that role, whereas Brighton have gone out there and picked out managers every time, and with every one of them there's been an improvement, or at least a maintaining of that standard. And you've got to say that not just in terms of management recruitment, but the way that Brighton have turned over hundreds of millions in transfer profit as well, really is a blueprint for how a team coming up the divisions needs to be run. But they're having a tough time of it today, it has to be said. Fulham are proving to be a very tough test, and Leno's had a little bit of work to do, but I think Brighton would have liked to have tested him more than this by now.
And Fulham picking the ball back up in their own half. Brighton certainly having more possession and more momentum, but still looking to test the goalkeeper. Like you said, Yankuba Minteh finds himself in the box, but well defended by Calvin Bassey. And again, still on the yellow card, so he has to be careful, but he's done immaculately well there.
He has, but it's really, Minteh should have done a little bit better himself with the ball that was played to him, because Ayari did really well to get that ball back in midfield in the first place. But here comes O'Reilly.
Yes, Matt O'Reilly plays it in towards Ruta. He's back towards goal, so he's had to turn around and try to play in Mitoma. Almost a mistake there from Kenny Tete. Mitoma was looming, but Bernd Leno got it clear. And a pass from O'Reilly tried to be played back, but it bounced off of the shoulder of Alex Iwobi and then back into the Brighton possession as they're slowly playing the ball up the pitch. Up on the left-hand side, comfortable in possession, and there's not a lot of movement in the green, the neon green shirts, as Brighton have to try and figure out a way to break this Fulham side down. Bernd Leno just telling everyone to calm down a little bit, and interestingly enough, I think they were plenty calm already, as Bernd Leno waits for the press before picking the ball up, as the German goalkeeper eventually places it back down and rolls it out to Cuenca. Cuenca back to Bernd Leno, looking to play it out from the back where Fulham, but he was forced to play a long ball over the top. And well, if Alex Iwobi's up against Matt Pfeiffer every time for a header, I think I'd bet on the fullback to win at least 9 out of 10 of those opportunities. So Brighton have the ball back once more on the near side. Pfeiffer looking for opportunities to spread the ball far on the left-hand side. He's done well to find De Cooper, who's put the ball into the box. Yankuba Minteh with a header, but it's just gone straight up into the air before Baleba collects it on the edge of the box and taken off of him by O'Reilly. Once more to Ayari, back to Baleba, and then once more to Ruta. Ruta takes a shot, and it's deflected away into the path of Dunk. Dunk is colliding with Raul Jimenez. The Mexican almost brought the centre-half to ground, and now he's pleading his case that he was fouled.
Yeah, he's not happy there with that one, Jimenez. But that's good play from Brighton. Although, again, Fulham back in numbers for all the attempts to try and get a ball into the box. There was still no easy way of getting a clean shot. Minteh maybe could have taken a bit of that header, but here comes Mitoma now down the left. Mitoma
into Ayari. He's been brought down by, well, actually, Kenny Tete, who went down first. Seemed to be holding on to Ayari, but the foul's gone the way of the Dutchman. On the far side, De Cooper doing well to get up as well, trying to influence the play. As Fulham seem to be playing as if they've got all the time in the world, and on their terms only will they attack. As the ball's played long over the top by Anderson, looking for Jimenez. Jimenez, who does have a strong aerial threat, even though he's not the tallest of players. There was a push in the back, however, from the Mexican, and a free kick goes the way of Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, he's now saying what to the referees if he can't believe it. We'll see this again. Yeah, I mean, again, Dunk's a much stronger, heavier, and more able player than he showed there. But he got a push in the back, so he's going to show the referee that he got that push in the back to win his side a free kick. Interesting stat: the possession in the last 10 minutes, 72% for Brighton, just 28% for Fulham. Question is whether a home side can now make that work for them.
And another switch into the path of Mitoma. Kenny Tete has to put it out for a corner.
That's genius from Mitoma. It was a long ball played. He couldn't do anything with it because it was already going out for a goal kick. So he's behind the line and he back heels it acrobatically into Tete, who couldn't avoid it, and he's out for a corner. So very good play there from Mitoma.
Matoma, one of those players who's creative beyond any doubt, just always thinking of ways that he can influence games, and he ends up doing it in unorthodox ways, but it's very, very effective. And it's won his side a corner, approaching the 40th minute, as Brighton set themselves up for this corner. Everyone's lined up on the back post. It will be Ayari, still goalless in Sunderland versus West Ham. Tottenham Burnley, the only Premier League game that's got a goal. Still 1-0 to Tottenham, as this ball is ready to be put into the box. It'll be a right-footed cross. It's delivered right into the 6-yard box, and Bernd Leno came out to collect it, and Anderson was the man who headed it behind. Obviously seeing now how close it was to going out for a throw-in, that there was no real danger, but it looked like maybe just a miscommunication between himself and Bernd Leno.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, you want the keeper to sort of be the strongest voice, but in the end, Anderson's header does get the ball away from danger. Now an in-swinger here from Matt O'Reilly.
Everyone lined up in the centre of the box this time, so a different set-piece routine. Still delivered in towards the back post. The header's won by Vifer, then hooked up once more, almost looping in towards that far post. Almost was it a cross, was it a shot situation? That one was definitely a cross. Claimed by Bernd Leno, and then rolled out with some vigour on it, but easily collected by Belabor. And for a centre-half, I think Van Heck's heat map would certainly be higher than that of an average centre-half. Sander Berge has given away a free kick, however. Jorginho Rutter going to ground. It didn't look like there was much contact on initial viewing, but certainly a collision, almost just a tangle of legs there.
Yeah, it is just a little bit of a tangle of legs, and that will give Brighton the free kick. I mean, this is now becoming very one-way here. Fulham have got to do something just to try and break up this bit of Brighton possession.
It's a free kick about 35-40 yards out from the goal, almost directly centre, so no real opportunity to cross it either way. As we can see, Minte and Mitoma are stood very, very wide, as if they're ready to receive the ball on their respective far posts. It will be De Cooper to take the free kick. No chance of a shot from here, surely, from the Belgian fullback, as he gears up for the free kick. Fulham certainly look worried for a shot, but has to get some power on it to beat Bernd Leno from there. Minte and Mitoma still very wide, as it's a lofted ball over the top in towards the back post. The header comes in from Ayari, but it's no real test of Bernd Leno. Doesn't get the power on the header, doesn't get the placement on it either. And it's an easy claim from the German goalkeeper.
It was the right idea, though, to try and get that ball into that area. Just the header couldn't quite get the power. He wanted to really test the goalkeeper there, as a ball up towards the halfway line, and Jimenez was brought down this time, and it will be a free kick to Fulham.
Fulham take it quickly in towards Sander Berge, and then back to Sasa Lukic, as he loves to drive higher and higher up the pitch from a centre defensive midfield role. He certainly loves to get up, as Iwobi puts the ball in towards the box, and a header comes in on the back post. Harry Wilson, almost a similar occasion to Matoma's header. Harry Wilson not known for his heading ability, but he certainly could have done better.
He certainly could have done better, and he's already having to defend himself there with Jimenez and I think King, who were both sort of saying, well, no, that Lukic it was who got to the edge of the six, was saying, well, look, we'll just nod it down to me then, because the angles are against Wilson, and even the way he sort of moved his body and his head towards the ball, you can see that it's not a skill that he's doing every day in training 20 times. He's not someone who heads the ball a lot, and that was his evidence of it there. But if he was struggling with that, I'm not sure he would have been able to cushion the header back to King anyway. But here come Brighton now with Minte.
Minte shifting it onto his left foot on the edge of the box, played back to O'Reilly. Once more to Minte, a ball in towards the back post, well hooked away by Tete. That's such a difficult skill. When the ball's coming across you that way and you're facing your own goal, you have to hook it away. But he's done ever so well to just cushion the ball over the late run of Mitoma, who certainly would have threatened from that position.
He would have, yeah, as you say. It was good skill that from Tete. He's pretty much got the ball control of a midfielder, really, doesn't he, playing at right back, but needed to make sure that wasn't going to suddenly flare up and go in as an own goal or go straight back into the middle of the box. Had to make sure it got away from danger, which it did, and it's going to be an in-swinger now from Yassine Ayari.
It's very unfortunate that it bounced off of the corner flag and out for a corner, as opposed as opposed to a throw-in. But Ayari with the right-footed cross. Van Heck, Dunk and Vijver all lined up in the centre of the box. The ball comes in towards the 6-yard box. Leno comes out. He does get a touch on the ball. Didn't look comfortable doing so as it rolls out for a throw-in on the opposite side. And that's about the second or third occasion that we've seen Bert Leno come out and claim the ball, but not get all of it.
Not get all of it, but again, gets enough on it to get it out of the danger zone for that moment at least. It's just going to be a throw-on to Brighton now down the right-hand side.
And Mats Vijver looking to put a long ball into the box from the throw. Bassi wins the header and clears it away into the path of King. Looking to turn, but Belabor more than comfortable in turning with him and taking the ball off him at the same time. Plays it back to Verbruggen. And it seems as though Brighton were coming into this game looking to draw out the press of Fulham, but Fulham more than happy to allow Brighton to have the ball in front of them. We've crossed over the 45th minute, only 1 minute of added time, as a long ball over the top in towards Minte, and Bassi again impressing with his pace to keep up with Minte. And then of course he's always got the strength, we know that, as a former, well, not a former centre back, but certainly played there. And he's done well here on this occasion to get the better of Minte yet again.
Yes, he has. Just body checking him, but at the same time making sure it's all within the rules and effectively giving Minte a choice of just letting the ball go out or trying to fight for it, but then at the same time Bassi is well positioned to stop him. So it's been a decent half, I think, from both sides. Brighton started a little bit slowly. Fulham were the better team early on, but then Brighton have responded well towards the end of the half, but Fulham have soaked up the pressure, so it bodes well for a decent second half, I think.
Bernd Leno takes the goal kick as we approach the 46th minute as it bounces back towards the Fulham defence. And that is all. The referee blows his whistle. Probably the best opportunity coming for Brighton from Mitoma with that header on the far post, but no dice for the Japanese international. Going into half-time, it's still Brighton Hove Albion 0, Fulham 0.